Hi everyone, welcome back to this episode of Database. So it's me and David again here, and today we'll be talking about embedded Power Apps in Power BI, in which David will run through us about this capability and when do you probably need to do this and some of the advantages. So without further ado, over to you, David.
Thanks, MJ. Yes, I think just a bit of background context for this. In Excel, one of the reason users love Excel is just the fact that they can actually input data back into the application. And most BI tools, some of them focus on, fancy visuals. They focus on, the data pipeline. They focus on, big data capabilities. But like very few of them actually allow users to actually ingest data, like just input data back into the application itself. And today I just want to kind of quickly demo a method that allows users to do exactly that. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool. Yeah, so the the data sitting behind this is a Power BI report you're seeing. So the data is a bike manufacturing data, is the sales record. Yeah, so you kind of get a total sales by category, you get total quantity by category. And the idea is to have a application for product review purposes. So I'll probably jump into a kind of bit of a coding, just show a bit of how the integration kind of works. So you've got a bit of a table here. It's got a number of different fields: product name, category name, etc. What I want to do is I'm in the online edit mode already, so I'll just swap this one into a Power Apps. So what's happening here is this Power Apps is actually loading the data from the table you've just seen. So that table is inside Power BI. We've converted into Power Apps. So Power Apps is actually taking the user inputs, but taking the data, the data. So then, one of the nice thing about that is I can actually apply the filters inside the Power BI report, and it will actually be reflected into the Power Apps as well. So these Power Apps allows, like I mentioned, these are just all the different products, and the user can select one of them. They can come in here and decide to change the price. Let's say give 10% discount and hit submit. So this data will be saved, right? Obviously, within Power BI, there's no easy way to actually save the data back into the report itself. So we're using SharePoint List here as the interim solution, like an interim storage place. So that data idea is you'll be able to actually save that back into a SharePoint List, and the user can kind of use it for like different purposes later on. It can be loaded back into Power BI. It can be, just kept as is within the SharePoint list as well. So it's really up to the user what needs to be done. And the reason I chose SharePoint list is because for most organization who's got the Microsoft 365, Office 365 agreements, it's all free.
Yeah.
Right. The other option, there are premium connectors for Power Apps that you can write things directly back into SQL tables as well. But there's just a bit of cost involved. Depending on the scenario, the cost might vary. Whereas for SharePoint, it's all free. Yeah, so I have done this one for a large bank in Australia for their annual budget process. We're talking about billions of dollars, hundreds of users, and it like this particular infrastructure actually scales really well. And I was actually using just SharePoint list in the backend as well. So yeah.
Yeah, SharePoint is really good, David, right? Like, I mean, it's been there for a while, but it powers Teams pretty much, right? Like, it's the foundation of Teams, and other capabilities within the Office 365 ecosystem. I guess the question for me here are actually two to three things, right? First off is, um, can it work the other way around as well, wherein like you embed a Power BI within Power Apps?
Um, I I don't think so. I mean, you can have power. Well, one thing about the Power Apps is it has limited, it has got a hard data limit pretty much. So that's probably one of the reasons it doesn't work as well. You can add charts into Power Apps. I'll quickly jump into this particular Power Apps actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add it. So you can see the Power BI integration here. So that's where the integration is happening. First, you initiate the app, and then after that, you will integrate with Power BI.
Okay.
And then you
So
will show the
it's a
screen.
two-way type of thing. Okay.
This is just one way. This is just
Oh,
Power
just one
Apps
way. It's
getting
Power Apps
data
pushing to,
from,
sorry, Power BI data as a source to Power Apps. Okay.
yes, correct. Because yeah, one of the main limitation with, well, I think for good reasons, is there's a limit, data row limit of 500, and I think it can be increased to 5,000, but that's it. They don't want, because it's going to hurt performance. You know, you come from the app
Okay.
side of things, you kind of understand
Yes.
where
Yep.
why they put a limit there. Whereas in Power BI, the complexity is hidden.
Yep.
And so that's why the one-way integration works better. If you want to, do it the other way, it's
Yep.
actually a bit
Gotcha.
harder.
All
Yeah.
right. Cool. Um, the second question I have is around the licensing around this, right? So obviously, first you need to have the Power BI license to create your report. What's the licensing involved in Power Apps to create this scenario?
Yeah, so Power BI Pro need that. Power Apps and Power Automate at the moment is mostly, so my understanding is mostly free for most organizations, in fact. Right. It's not the trial thing as well. Like it's just like there's a standard
Clear. Yeah.
licensing that you can use as part of your enterprise or business agreements. So you get SharePoint, Power Apps, Power Automate kind of out of the box. Where it costs you is the like the premium connections, for example, like SQL Server connector.
Yeah.
It connects to all sort of ecosystems, but that's what costs money.
Yeah. Okay. Then the third or last question for me around this one is, so can this work on a multi workspace level, right? Like for example, I have multiple Power BI workspaces. Can I inherit or embed as many Power Apps as possible for as long as it's within that tenancy, or what's the restriction around that?
I don't. I'm not aware. Like I haven't been abusing it enough, obviously, but I'm not aware of any particular like restrictions, like number of apps type of restrictions. I know in Power Automate there is definitely like how many flows you can call, you can run. Power Apps, I'm not sure about the upper limit. Do
Okay.
you have some like
No.
particular scenario in mind
Oh,
that you
well,
think?
yeah, because I'm just thinking, right? Like if this is a really good use case, because same with Power BI, right? Like Power BI can just point to as many, sorry, Power BI reports can point to the same data set, right? Or semantic model these
Yep.
days, right? And what I'm thinking is that is there a restriction on the other way around, wherein like if report 1 already embedded, demo app 2, can report 2 still embed the demo app 2? You know what I mean? Like around those lines. Do me a quick favor and just try this out. Can you create a page 2 tab and can you import that same Power App? Is that possible?
Yeah. I think if I understand what you're saying, we'll just create a table and I'll chuck some stuff in there.
Now, create a page 2 tab within Power BI. So, yeah, and then can you copy paste the same?
Oh, you want to see how many? Yeah.
If
Okay.
it would allow
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. Like it's a
Okay,
separate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it seems to work, right? Like and then obviously you can. I'm just assuming even multiple reports can just reference the same stuff, right?
Yeah, you can all link to the same. Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood you. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can all link to the same Power Apps as
yeah,
well.
because
There's
what
no.
I'm thinking at is that maybe there's a use case wherein like this could be a unified data entry point for like let's say multiple reports or multiple domains, and then like when someone changes this, it just kind of like reflects across everyone. Like small change here can just reflect across different reports as well.
Yeah. I think let's say, for example, there's premium and you got a premium workspace and you can kind of set up like the refresh rate to be quite high. So, this can write back into, let's say, a SharePoint list, and then you just keep on refreshing the other reports and it will kind of almost feel like a live feed. Or this can write back directly into, let's say, a SQL database, and then there's like a live direct query into those SQL sources, and they kind of you can change on the spot as well. Yeah, capability wise, it's definitely there.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is that this can eliminate some of those use cases where there's a separate web app just for data aggregation, right? And then what could happen here is that let's say you multiple reports across multiple departments, but you have like one unified data entry that makes sense across those different reports.
Do you mean like a mapping table type of thing? Yeah. So one source, you can be in
But it's
many
not just
different
about the
reports.
table itself, but it's more around like the interaction and how do you insert the data, right? So having Power Apps in there is a good approach, simple approach to just kind of like push data.
Yeah, like my I've worked on so many different reports, and like some of them are like project reports, some of them are budgeting reports, finance reports, whatever, and they all link to some tool. And with that budgeting thing, and then I've also done another project management tool using the same infrastructure as well. Like if you can do this, there's like very little, like especially internal requirements. Like this combination is really flexible, and on top of that, you can add Power Automate as well. So I can. Yeah, so like I mentioned, there's it's a very flexible infrastructure with the integration of Power BI, Power Apps, and I think it has potential of like fulfilling a lot of the different business requirements, especially internal ones. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and again, it saves a lot of costs as well, in terms of like building a bespoke app or things like that, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I think thanks very much for that one, David. Yeah, looking forward to what comes next after this.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool.